All right, so we were working on this guest satisfaction survey for the test of independence. So recall, we had 3 hotels, and we were looking into the 187 people who did not, who said they would not return to the hotel, and they gave their primary reason why. So here's our observed frequency, or our actual frequency. Here's our expected. So recall that this is essentially the exact same process as before. So we need to fill this table out. So to find the expected, we know that we need to take the row total times the column total, divide by the overall total. So I'll do equals row total times column total, divide by overall total. Now I don't really want to do this a bunch of times, so what I'm going to do is how about I lock this C just a $sign in front of the C, and then I'm going to put a $sign in front of the F and the 11. So the $sign just locks things in place. So when I put a $sign in front of both the F and 11, that's locking this cell in place whenever I drag the formula. And putting the $sign just in front of the C is going to, and C11 is going to lock that cell in place. But I'm going to leave the F open because I'm going to drag this down and I want the row totals to continue updating. So now that I've done that, I can just simply drag down and there we go. You can do this the other way. I mean, it's the exact same formula as what we did in this example. I'm just adding a couple of shortcuts here. So I'm just going to paste these formulas in to these cells, but of course I need to update these columns. So instead of C here, right, I want D. So I'm going to put enter. And then over here, I don't want C, I want E. And you can see how the colors are updating. So I know I'm using the right cells. So now that I've done that, I can just simply drag these down and there we go. I'm done. So that was quite a bit faster than typing that formula into all of these cells, but you can do it either way. So totals, I just want to make sure I did this correctly, so I'll do equal sum on these cells, and we know that these should all match up with these totals. So let me drag these down, and those all match up, which is a good check, and now I'm going to do equal sum on my columns. And those all match up. And then, of course, finally, the overall, so equal sum. Grab all of the data. Okay, so because these all match up here, I kind of know I did this correctly. It's always a good check. And here are our expected frequencies. So now we need to do our squared differences. So recall we do observed minus or expected squared divided by expected. So here again, I kind of want to do shortcuts. So I'm going to do equals. So recall it's open, open. So I'm going to do observed minus expected. And then caret 2, close, divide by expected. Enter. Now here, we want all the cells to update as we drag the formula. So this is actually quite nice. I'm just going to drag this over, and it'll update. And then I'm going to drag down, and it will update. And that's it. So I didn't use any dollar symbols up here because I want to continually update these cells. So if I say click here, and then I can see it is corresponding to, let's see, quality of room, Palm Royale. And that was much easier than writing that formula out a bunch of times. And then here, we just sum up all of our differences to get our chi-squared value. Okay, so our test statistics, so chi-squared stat, that's going to be what we just calculated. So I'm just going to say equals this cell, 27.41. Degrees of freedom, so r minus 1 times c minus 1. So I'm going to say equals. So we have 4 rows, so 4 minus 1. and then times, we have 3 columns, so 3 minus 1, and that should be 6, right? 4 rows, 3 columns. So our critical value will be a chi-squared 6.05. If you forget how to do these, let's just go back to, you can just go back to this prior example. I don't have it in this file, but it should be in yours. So here we know this is going to be the chi-squared dot inverse, so equals chi-squared dot inverse dot RT. So probability, so that's alpha, so 0.05, comma, degrees of freedom is 6, so you can either type 6, or just click on your cell that already has 6, close parenthesis, and we get 12.59. And then here, so for p-value, so chi-squared, 6 degrees of freedom, bigger than, so I'm going to come up here and just update this with 12.59, because 12.59 is our chi-squared stat. And so this is going to be chi-squared dist.rt, so equals chi-squared dist.rt. So our value, we would click on our chi-squared value. So you could either type 27.41 or just click on that cell that has it, comma, degrees of freedom. You can type 6 or just click on this cell, close it, and enter, and we get our tiny p-value. And so we reject H naught and accept HA. And that's it. So it was essentially the identical process to difference in proportions. We're just now doing tests for independence. And of course, for the homework, we should be writing out our hypotheses and all of that. I'm not doing that here because we did that by hand, so I don't feel the need to do it a second time. So anyway, that wraps up chapter 12.